parents. You know, once you kind of get who you are, that maybe you're not fully, your soul isn't necessarily from here, your purpose is maybe a little different. It was like finding your parents. You don't quite need to ask anymore. The obsession passes. You start to feel more in touch with your person on this earth. And so, okay, maybe I'm really not from here. So how can I try to fit in like everybody else and be like everybody else when I'm not? And that just helped me stop trying to be something I wasn't. Because I wanted to be like everybody else, and I just wanted to fit in, and I wanted to talk about getting my nails done and my hair done and think that was important, and I could care, you know, I just don't care. So I was always on this spiritual journey, and still am. So Sandra in 2014 did my first reading, and it was so profound. It was an hour-and-a-half reading. I've never taken and printed out every single word from a reading before. Every word, 21 pages in an hour and a half. Because I didn't get to ask that many questions. Because God had lots to say. And in fact, I pulled that reading out for her and read it to her, some of it, and she was, oh my God, you know, God said that, and God said that, and so she does so many readings. And then along the way, some of the things I'd already suspected started to also come out from channels, which is that I have contact with other worldly beings when I'm not here, always maybe in another dimension. Not that I can only remember one, where I woke up on a ship and there were 3, come on in, would you? There were 3 beings around me, and it scared me, and I was mad at myself because at this point I was very in tune to extraterrestrial life and believe that most of it is benevolent. So this has been a big journey. It's been a big journey of overcoming fear. It's been a big journey of learning to be myself. It's been a big journey of I'm just different. You can ask people. And since 2004, I have shifted so much that I don't know me. I don't know me. The Linda I was isn't the Linda I am. And the Linda I am is now much more grounded. I am more stable. I'm happier. I'm letting go of grief, depression, suicidal tendencies that I've had in my life. I mean, it has just been one amazing journey. Now, most people would not know any of these things about me because I did all my grieving at home in the quiet. And there were days I would not leave my house when I was in one of those grieving, emotional, because I didn't want anyone to know how much deep grief I was actually carrying. And so this is a walk out of pain. So I am a recovering alcoholic. I have started drinking when I was 14, alcoholic at 15. And there's lots of reasons, and we'll let God ask questions. Are we on live yet?
Well, I have us on live, but unfortunately I can't find the link to send to everyone online in order for them to get.
Can we record this and send them tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because we really need to get present, I think.
I agree.
So, so this is it. And
I
just found it. Oh, there you go.
I just found it. Oh, thank God. Okay.
Here we go. So in this particular evening, Sandra is going to be, through God, asking me questions. One of the first things I will do, for those of you who have not heard light language, I will be speaking light language. I started speaking light language in 2012. And that was a very spontaneous thing that happened. I heard somebody else speak it, and I was like so excited. It was like, oh my God, I know this language, right? I know this language. And it was like almost instantly, I found myself speaking a language that I had no idea I was saying, and it would go on for 15 minutes, and it hurt my jaw. I mean, because you're saying words you don't normally say in a way you don't normally say it. And so it was actually hurting my mouth. And I was doing this for like maybe a month or two, and then I just thought, Linda, this is stupid. You know, you're saying something you don't know. It's just dumb. So I forced myself to stop, because I thought, I have no idea what I'm saying. I don't know why I'm saying it, and I stopped. But then Sandra was talking to me about this language that I would have. And I was about speaking in language, and so I didn't know really what that meant. I said, well, I had this language at one time, and she goes, yeah, that's it. And now, since then, I've learned a lot about light language. And when I do a light language, we call it a light language transmission. The light language transmission, you will not understand what I'm saying necessarily, but you will feel it in your heart. It's a communication of the heart. It will communicate with the higher self, and it will communicate with you on a level that you're ready to hear. And so it may mean something different to every single person depending on the level you're at and what you need to know. And so that is one of the things that will start. And then I always say, God willing, get into a mode where I can connect with what I do, and is at this point, I get silent. And what happens is I kind of wait. There becomes a point where I have this smile that comes to me, and it's a very kind of like a happy feeling. And then, but I'm connecting with myself. And what we want you to know, and one of the things we're doing this at this early stage of my channeling, is to let you know that absolutely everyone can do what I'm going to be doing. This is not something, well, okay, some people.
Not everyone's architected for it.
So those people who are but we can all communicate with our higher self.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say.
Not
So
everyone is architected to be a telepath for otherworldly beings. Okay, so one of the reasons that Linda has taken since 2014 to get to this point is she's been afraid of herself.
that too.
Linda is, what we've learned in readings, she's an alien. And though we've all incarnated on this earth, either often as earthly beings, some of us have actually incarnated from other worlds, and alien worlds in particular with regard to Linda. But actually Source wrote this out, so I would rather read that than my blabber on and on, because we also want to mention what's going on the rest of the weekend as well and prepare you for that. Are we streaming from that?
Video's good.
Video's good? You're checking audio?
Yeah.
I didn't like that little giggle there. It looks good on my system.
Oh, distorted.
My hair doesn't look good, but good grief. It's just where it's going to have to be. Yeah, I was going to read this. All right. Good evening, everyone. We're so excited to get started 20 minutes ago. Allow me to get a little information covered first. Tomorrow and Sunday, we're having the deep source-guided meditations, where the goal is for each of you to find deeper awareness of your higher selves. It is this higher nature that leads you to the authentic oversoul. For some people in this room, you'll find otherworldly doorways. For others, you will find Christ way. This is the condition of the way. If you've been following my work at all, you will have been told that Christ is not a man who walked the earth, but it is an opening in the void represented in most of the major religious iconography. If I had time, I would have shown you pictures of that. It is this doorway into the void that, with Gary Springfield's help, we will achieve the entry point to our great potential. For the first time, many will learn who Gary Springfield really is, in the eyes of his God within. I have been honored to facilitate the affectionate way of his godly nature through the course of over 40 soul readings since 2014. We have learned from these readings deep and profound information that will one day be publicized when he passes into the next occupancy, a soul alighted without a body. We will enter and leave these 2 days in silence. We will come in and leave in silence. God. Oh, okay, thank you. Hopefully this is just batteries. Please, dear God, just be batteries. My backup batteries were says no sound on video yet. As of when?
They were up there. Did you?
Is there sound on video now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's this. This is on.
You're not getting it, Sandra?
I just got a text that said no sound on video online. Did you get it? All right, I will let people know that this is being recorded. It's better sounding when you're further away from your mouth.
Yeah, it is overdriving.
Okay.
Well, not here, it's not. Okay. That could be what blew the batteries. I hear you both. One says I hear you both.
Okay.
I hear you. Susan hears us. Okay, great. That is recording.
Okay.
Okay. I just need to know where those batteries were that I set right here that have disappeared. Some double A's?
I don't know. I have one. I'm gonna try these.
Okay, great. I'll set them up here just in case the other one goes down.
Do you need that in order for them to hear you?
Well, I guess not, because I'm seeing it. I can speak through here.
Okay,
All right.
go on.
All right. Can you guys hear this online? Please say so or not. Mary says it's Gary's fault. All right. Could be. It did happen when I started talking about him. All right. We will enter and leave the 2 days in silence. Remain in silence until after the meditations. For people who are truly mastering their minds, we recommend staying in silence until 4 p.m. or that's 2 hours after, or 4 hours after the actual meditation. This will have the most impact on your methods. We recommend sleeping immediately after the session days.
before attempting activity. Drive home cautiously. For those who are not signed up, you'll have an opportunity to sign up later, both online and here as well. If some of you, yeah. Okay, and now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce a woman who began as another client and has become a very close friend. Her readings have explored some of the most interesting concepts of alien involvement of any of my other readings with people. What I learned about Linda Green is that she is an Originian. Originians are light beings that are rare, but they're gigantic. And in order to incarnate, they have to like shrink down into a human form, which is why she feels so insecure a lot, because the totality of her isn't in this little body with her. What we've also discovered is that her mission here on this earth is to help those who feel alienation from their own alien origins, and to also be a telepath and a communicator with alien beings that are just on the other side of the veil. The purpose of tonight to bring her public is because I have many other clients and students who have been told that they are either scribes or communicators of some kind. They either are to be communicating beings from other worlds, or they're actually channeling high-level angelic, some of them are mediums, but they haven't really come to that place yet where they can either hear or receive that information. So now that she's at such a new level, we can ask Linda questions after we go into the source communication and find out who's going to be communicating with us tonight. Then you can ask Linda questions about her process, but please don't ask any of the questions of the alien beings, because that takes too much running up a mountain, back down a mountain, up a mountain, back down a mountain for a new medium. So it can be too exhausting. So Source is going to ask those questions. I have no idea what's going to come out. We're all as much an audience as participants. So now I'm going to go into my Source God Self and find out what's next. So God says, well, we would like to take a moment and calm systems, because we know that the frayed issues in technology are a result of the beings that are hovering, waiting to communicate. They are as much a problem with the technology as the technology itself. It cannot withstand the level of intensity that's being brought into this room. And it's not just what Linda's bringing, it's all of you who are calling through your excitement. Believe it or not, your excitement is calling, and what it's calling for are here. And they are here waiting to communicate. But you need to calm that part of you that is excited. The part of you that is elated for this opportunity is in a vibrational flux. Bring it to a mellow. Mellow. It's in this mellow state where there are orbs. And these orbs speak. Every speaking spot by an orb speaks slow, mellow, slow.
So we will begin to bring Linda now, and you are all welcome to journey with her by following the way that this voice takes her. One we wish to address first, of the beings Linda holds at bay when she is afraid. The one we wish to address first is her most frequent visitor. This frequent visitor does not speak English, will not speak English, and will always maintain a light language to calm Linda. Linda, we ask of you to call into that being and speak at your will.
Esken og korsten kirst, og morusten tierst, kontorst. Ik kisten ikke til kål, is til kirst, no korst tierst, mo korsten tila halo mo horsti, monor, a karst kurst, ma kala mustikalena is tinitstoa. Mo hore kirst in kistana, lo more karastierst kurst, ma alle ikuno. And utgelu ma hale hik histin tikitu alawa I hile muhusti kirst hala homo husti hin and all est erst in tiest hala hurst hada mo kore kasantele hier ontele alle mo ure santir hol ama karustu yant ala astir ku ama ali Antelo mutusti katanto, listintir und ule estil mut antala alostu, amo kete sti kutruaka ti u alama, shuntokwata, mastintis tikatu, mut ore kestiran stila komporik, hala komore sintile katala shantiko, halumur, sikimikira tork, hankasnil michisto kor, haikir, unkurut, parik styrst goa. Ni tito kombur si ontore keres dir urt intilikma ikata komor ikikmatawa sikitu kuman kadusti kos karatri krontris kana krontiram parikiti potom pataris tikiti tokomo tan chilua hilikitira stonoware tiro ur histira stont kalmatastin tira mohoristan tantru hush Alamash, os, mos, kistus, alast, nemorst, ist schuasti, como der ist antinua, imokostir ostilikloa, imikastirua, imikator, sintir, sunkutrua, sinkitrua, Miki tanto mantele kier, stuntela, ti stontroa, eko motora, ole isti stuatele kisti tuate.
Before you go, we would like you to bless each and every one here with one thing and one thing only, and that is the light that you brought tonight. Please show your blessing to each one here.
Amor, sikike mantarasta como atest. Ikustik hantelestum kosti testama. Omokurwa santele kata antroa. Boost ik eerst und eleketus tu atere. Ki komodo sir molo atantele ante. Umo tantele ikomotos choatre. Imukusun chuan antele stakont hestile como stere ke muturesta. Imo stella hale comore kete. Imikastate lo kord. Umo stiert. Umo kostier stier on kontroate. Amorge, il mokosta kata, il che moto tostovate, komotora, il mokosta antala kero stontre kentre, komotora existe. In mo sontile her tonstua kerete, Mokore chantroa. Amokore sitere kostontele kististe mokotre. Kolo stert. I must la kastiste loate tistimort. I kimire kostela katre. I mokore santanteltroa. Niketoroa. I mikosturustane. I kinua kataris in komotore seke. Amakore sentele kestatoa. I mustle. Omor. Akamorchiste cantantele kistantele kistotri. Mokore santele. Imika tanto, mo kostala hand, ho kostini kira tanto statista, mo kostilika, mo kotata. I stundistantara stikilo mo kore sentantana kumporati, shishuna mata, imiro kostier, mo kore ste. Imakalo horisintile kero kur, Mukushtichini kalasti tishta kapare ket. Mukumur sitere kataro sinchele, mokore santale shir kur anturist kire motor. Mustirkitu, moter istigotol ikire tu mosta datareke. Mushir hu kontroha hastela, on kulokotara santale kista, ikumotreke. Emokoto stelle kere sontre, ukombotere siti, lemo reker, umusta, eli kisti kimantatum, pistiketava. Emekatustutukamode kistir ustkantawa ekele astukuvanter katama korishika makate sturukupunkotavata chestikamokochastrowata ekemistikadastist ur anstrua enkristelua ekele kustelua ida kamost und elegantstema erst.
And it is with many, many thanks that you are finally free to be here among all those that are grateful for your presence. From here on out, you are free to be among. You no longer need to be hidden. You no longer need to deny yourself presence. You are now here and present, and wherever Linda goes, you go. And everywhere Linda goes, you go. And everywhere Linda goes, you go. Never again will you be shut out. Never again will you be left behind. Never again will you be forgotten or shushed. You will always be brought where Linda goes. Because where Linda goes, Linda blesses. And everywhere Linda blesses, Linda needs you. From foundation to the highest peak, you are her comfort, her warmth, and her need. We as spirit can only go so far to give her that comfort. She is in a foreign land, in a foreign world, and she must hear her own true language in order to remember who she is in this foreign way. And now that you have opened the doorway, there are many other beings waiting to speak through her. Please stay present. Don't leave. Just wait until she calls you again to speak again. The next being that we think is of utmost importance to speak tonight in the audience that is here, and every audience is different. Every audience needs a different message and a different messenger. But Linda's telepathic conditioning is beginning with the strongest of the messengers, and that is a very high-trained species. The high-trained species that's coming next, that we are calling forth, that is waiting in line, has a tall countenance and a strong readiness. And we ask of them one question to answer to begin with. Why here? Why Linda?
Greetings. We are grateful that you have asked this question and that we are here with you today. Why Linda? Linda has been perfectly aligned and attuned. Linda has not only been from another source of soul, but also has experienced contact. And in that contact, there has been attunement and alignment, and she is still being attuned as we get more and more into this dialogue with her on a more and more regular basis. She is able to stay tuned longer, and she stays tuned longer, then we are able to reach her a little better, and the communication becomes clearer, and the quality of the information becomes much more salient and much more relevant to the topics of the current times. And so Linda has been one that we have been waiting to communicate for a very long time, but she has not been willing to open up that channel or to even try because she was afraid. And so we are grateful for all of the channels who have worked with her to tell her that it is safe. That is one of the things that has been recommended, is just to put a shield of light around herself to stay in the light, although she always feels like she is in the light, and so she does, but she believes she's already there, and so she does more just to be sure. We believe that she is already safe and there is nothing to worry about, because what we are bringing through is messages for humanity. This is not something that is for Linda. This is something that is for humanity. Humanity is on the cusp of an evolutionary change, and humanity is on the cusp of a development of consciousness. And Linda is one of the vehicles that will be delivering messages to humanity to help humanity learn to love themselves. This is the biggest thing that is keeping humanity from advancing, is that they no longer love themselves. They have lost touch with the God that lives within. And so they feel isolated and alone, and they are in fear. And Linda is a great example of one who has lived in fear. So not only is she a good channel, she is a good example of what it is like to live in fear and to walk out of fear. And we know that there are times she is still in fear, and now Linda, with this new ability, is able to say, okay, I now have a fear. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to connect with the being that she is on the other side. And then she asks questions and say, I'm feeling fear about this, that I'm getting ready to do this. And we can talk her through it. We can help her see who she really is and why she's here and why she's doing it. And when she understands that it's not for her, that it's for everyone else that she's doing it, it takes some of the fear away. It helps her understand the reason she has stepped forward, because she knows that there will be many who will look at her and say she is crazy. She is a strange person, and she has not wanted to be crazy or strange. So this has been a difficult step forward.
We not only appreciate what you are bringing to Linda as a result of that message, but we appreciate what's coming next. And we know that what's coming next is going to be even harder for Linda to hear. But our question to you, as assertively as you can be through her, although we also sense her holding you back, we would like you to identify Linda as an alien and what type she is, how she has been in collusion with those that will be speaking through her, and the cooperation that has been in contract since before her birth.
we are willing to address this subject. Linda, as has been other members of her family, have been part of what is called an alien cooperation. And this is the cooperation with the Greys. And this cooperation was to assist in providing DNA to the Greys, and Linda and her family members have been part of this cooperation for a long time, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, but on a soul level, voluntarily. And even though this has caused Linda much trauma as she was young, when she had her first alien contact, she was 5 years old. And to this day, her body is not as equipped to handle stress because of the trauma as other people would normally be in handling stress. Her father was also a contactee, and also her sister. And she is also struggling as a human on this planet. And this is part of the reason that Linda agreed to become a contactee, is because in this experience, in the experience of being a contactee, there were things that Linda also gained. Her DNA was tweaked. She became much more in tune to what multidimensionality means. She got set up so that she could communicate with us in this lifetime on this level. And she can now communicate with all these different beings that are able to send information to her antenna on the other side of the veil. So other beings can send information to her. She can receive it and then download it and transmit it to humanity. So that is one of the agendas that Linda is involved with. This is the one that was difficult for her and has caused her much grief and pain, and she does not like to talk about it a lot. The other agenda that Linda has is an alien alliance for the protection of human spirit. That agenda is where Linda is now. We are here. We, the collective of these extraterrestrial beings who care for and love the human. We care for and love the human. You are our brother. You are our sister. We want to see you grow and develop, and you have been limited. You have been held under mind controls of systems that have been in place for thousands and thousands of years. And now there are many of us who are coming through vehicles such as Linda. There are 12 others on the planet at this point who are like Linda, holding this kind of ability and this kind of contact with extraterrestrial. They are all throughout the world. So there are 12 others who are also able to do this, and they are all holding space for each other to be here and to do this kind of work. And so really the big thing that is being brought through is the ability to break free of the paradigms that have held you back from being the God that you already are. So that you start to understand, that you start to see, that you start to know, you start to believe, you start to become the magnificent being God always intended for you to be. Love, benevolence, kindness, giving, compassion. This is who you are. This is who you are. We want you to be free. Free. Free again. Free to be in joy. Free to be there. Know that there is nothing you can do wrong. You do not need to punish yourself anymore. You can just know that you are God expressing. There is no need to put yourself in subjugation to even yourself. It's time to love yourself. This is the message that is coming forward. This is the message, is to learn that you are the ones. You are God, and you are all connected. There is nobody who is not part of each other It's beautiful. It's beautiful. When you start to see it, it is so beautiful. You will just be so happy. It is a good thing.
This foundational message that you bring identifies Linda as a messenger and the others that you mentioned. But what we were wanting to hear from you, which we think Linda is holding you back from saying, is the condition of alien transport and its influence in the human world identifies exactly the tolerance of someone like Linda. Meaning, if you are truly honest with the alien interloping system, it would frighten the hell out of the humans. But there is a certain number of humans, a certain particular group of humans that need to know this in order to participate appropriately as you become more and more involved on a conscious level in the human world. So we would like you to address the true nature of your alien involvement.
The true nature of the alien involvement is to prepare humanity to become part of all of the other planets and Federation and the Galactic Federation and the Federation of the Planets and the interdimensional beings that are waiting to be in contact with you again. We are all wanting to be part of one another again. You have been separated, you have been isolated, and we are all one. And we wish to shore you up, so to speak. Shore you up so that you are able to receive interactions with non-human beings. And in order to do that, you as a human have to drop judgments about what is good and what is bad and what looks right and what looks bad and what's black and what's white and what's yellow and what's red, until you can accept some of your own limitations of your judgments of each other. How can we ever really be amongst you as brothers? So we are educating you about love, acceptance, consciousness, awareness, non-judgment.
And to what end? You mentioned to prepare humanity for a communion among the races of beings that dwell both interdimensionally and extraterrestrially. But what you haven't said is the true purpose of that partnership with humanity. Why is it critical? Why not just remain in the outbounds?
Because we want to save humanity. We want humanity to save itself. Because if humanity does not step up, it is on a forward motion to self-destruction. So we are enabling, helping, assisting humanity to move up, step up, step up. We wish to do this in love.
And what if love doesn't work? What if humanity's long stride towards self-destruction becomes too long for love to settle in to that communion? What then?
If there is not enough time for love to set in, we have full faith that love will set in. There will not be an opportunity for it not to. We have full faith that it will set in. We are working, and you as a human population are doing a good job of working on yourself. There are many who are not. They will stay behind. It is a choice. You have choice. It is a free world. It is a free world. You can choose what you will choose. There will be no judgment about that. There are those who will move forward, and there are those who will not. It is going to be a free choice.
And those who do not, what then? What about them?
They will find themselves in a different situation, and we will not go there.
We are keeping you on the pressure here mainly because there is an important message in this awakening in Linda. Linda often wants the best for humanity, believes in the best for humanity, and we believe you are sheltering her from the worst of humanity and from the worst of the outcome for humanity in order to slide deeper into her consciousness. And we suggest that you take a different tact. We suggest that if you just keep hanging back, she will not let you enter. You must show yourself fully. Allow her that honesty. We want to know what is the level and the expectation of human survival in the next generation.
This all depends upon the human consciousness. Human consciousness can change everything. You can change weather patterns. You can change just about everything. And as we move forward, this will always be the message. This will always be the message. It will be what is chosen. And you can choose consciousness, and consciousness can change everything. And so this is the message, and there is no other message about that.
We appreciate your need to stay positive. We appreciate your need to stay gentle. We appreciate your need to keep Linda's altered state calm. But we also know why you're here, much more so than Linda knows. And we also know that the reason you're showing up in the time that you're showing up is because time is growing short. Humans are becoming dumb in the way of the momentum of that choice. They choose over and over power and money over spirit. They choose over and over some sense of identification with success that has nothing to do with true success as a species. It's all about individual success. It has nothing to do with community success. So much so that those who want to join in community have no support by the greater community in order to do so. And you know from the condition of the Galactic Federation how important community is to the survival of any species. So we are pushing you one more time to speak in a way that is honest and sincere. What is the threat to species that are extra and interterrestrial if humans wipe themselves out?
What is the threat to species and interdimensional beings?
Extraterrestrial and interdimensional beings. What is the threat if humans wipe themselves out?
Well, there is always a connection. We're all connected. And so when one destroys themselves, it affects the collective. We do not wish for anyone to wipe themselves out. Many planets do this. It is an unfortunate thing, and we do everything we can to prevent the destruction, the self-destruction of a planet. We do everything in our power to keep planets moving forward and growing, and this planet has done a good job of advancing, and we are believing in good things. But a planet, a species can choose to become irrelevant. But it would be a choice, and that is a free will choice. It is not the expectation. The expectation is that everything will work out as is intended, and we are doing everything in our ability to assist humanity, and we'll continue to do that, and there's much optimism. And yes, if a species chooses to do that, they are willing to, they can do that in their own will, but we do not believe this is the case. We do not believe this is the case.
Of course, humans are not willing their demise through a conscious will. It's an unconscious direction that they are heading in that is ultimately their demise, and they've done it many times. But this time is different. This time is different. The things that humans do in order to keep their species alive is doing exactly the opposite, causing cancers and illnesses and an inability for individuals to develop skills to survive on their own. They are becoming dependent upon technology and systems that, if wiped out by, say, a great solar wind, they will be helpless to feed themselves. And this is super obvious to those on the other side of the veil, and we don't understand your evasiveness in answering our question.
We know that technology can become a person's God. It has happened before. We would choose it not to, but if it does, it does. That would be the last wave of ascension, is those who have become where technology is their God, and there will be many who choose that. That is not necessarily the self-destruction. It is a different path. It would not necessarily be the path of one who is in touch with themselves as God, which is who they are. And so their progress home will take much longer. And we are not willing to go any further with it than this. So this is it. This is as far as we will go. And so we are going to leave our channel's body at this time.
So we'd like to call on another being that's waiting to speak. And this is a being that is far smaller, takes up a lot less space in consciousness. This is a being that is a highly intelligent form of insect, a consciousness that dwells in a flying being. These flying beings have antennae and are unified by their own ability to perceive. Linda, do you feel them coming closer to you?
We know of who you speak.
Our question to them is this: have you noticed a loss, a great loss, in ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And in that great loss of ecosystem, do you see a pattern repeating?
There is a pattern repeating.
And in that pattern that is repeating, do you see something being created from that pattern?
I can't hold the channel anymore.
God says, we are extremely proud of how far you've gone. And you held on as long as you could as we pressed them. The reason we press is because there are unspoken agendas in the alien worlds, and a channel cannot remain themselves until that agenda is revealed. The channel is forced to hear the message of love and peace and joy and choice as being that's the message from the alien world. But the reason that's the message from the alien world is in order to commune with humans, humans have to believe it is for their betterment that they do. And that is not always the case. It is not always the case to commune with alien beings who have an agenda they will not reveal. How do you cooperate with an agenda you don't know what it is? Linda's fears hold that message back right now, but she's just beginning to explore. She's just beginning to ask questions of what's coming to her. She's just beginning to delve deeper. And everyone who is called upon to communicate from another world must dig deep to find the right communicators. The one that protects her doesn't speak English, cannot speak English, won't speak English, calms her, delights her, and delights in her, and will always be her primary source of comfort from an alien world. But eventually, the ones that are less comfortable, that are less protecting, that are more for their own agenda, are going to enter into her consciousness because she's opening, she's flowering as a consciousness. And as a consciousness flowers, it becomes susceptible to all kinds of interlopers. And they aren't bad, they just don't have humans in their agenda. They have their own agenda. And humans are very much in the way of that agenda, because humans have a way of living that wipes out their own habitat. First by wiping out all the other habitats. So their first agenda is to make sure the humans stop wiping out habitats. So agenda number one from the alien worlds, no matter if they are part of the cooperative or not, is to figure out how to get the humans to care about the earth. The more we press Linda in this way, the more afraid she will be. Not for herself anymore, but for humans. Because she'll see things, she'll hear things, and she'll know things that she will not feel comfortable delivering as a message. And therefore be in conflict with her own purpose. Many of you here are communicators. You're communicating with an alternate dimension. Finding out what your purpose in that communication is means you must get in touch with your God self so that you are structured by that God self instead of structured by the consciousness attempting to communicate to and through you. The most important reason that we are bringing Linda to the fore is that now she's forced to reveal who she is. She has no choice to hide anymore. But many of you still choose to hide. And we ask very simply that you stop. No matter how weird you appear to the world, you are not weird. It is the world that has forgotten the story. They forget they are spirits, they are souls that incarnate into matter and turn matter into living being. And it is in that being that lives and is alive that is true, is real. And the more realness you give it, the more real your life becomes. The more profound and important you become to yourself and to those around you that you enlighten as a result of that realness. You have honored us with your presence here tonight. And we now will pass it on to any questions you might have of Linda and her experience. And one day, you'll be able to ask questions of the beings that she brings through. But for now, we ask you just ask her questions. And we will hand it over to you and those questions. And people online, yes, I can see. You can put those questions in there as well.
Linda, when you speak in that other language, are you conscious of what you're doing and do you understand what you're saying?
I have never understood what I'm saying in that other language. I can tell you, though, that it is very soothing to me. It is a release of pressure. When I speak in that language, it releases pressure. It's like it builds up and I have to, and then I speak it and it just goes, it's like a pressure valve is opened up for me and it lets the pressure off. And so it really is helpful for me. So not denying it is really awesome. I appreciate that I am in a non-denying it method. Sometimes, though, it wants to speak when I'm with people who I don't think it's appropriate to start speaking another language. So I hold it back a lot. It wants to speak a lot more, and there are times that it really, and because it affects the vibrational field and it's like an encodement, I've been told by more than one channel that I should start to use it more because it affects your DNA. When I say this, when I speak in this language, it is waking up your DNA. It is helping you remember who you are. We are remembering, all of us. We're remembering, coming back together. And so that is part of what that language does. And that's why it's going to always be important, even if I can speak in English or channel in English, to have the light language, because it does something vibrationally and to your DNA that English would not do. So, thank you for the question, Barbara.
I'm curious of your experiences when she was doing the light language. Does anyone have anything to share about that?
I've listened to light language before, yeah, and I feel it every time. It's like a kind of takes me up to kind of a high, and then takes me down.
Nice.
Even.
I felt like I was in the middle of a prism, you know, like cut glass or cut. I felt like it was cutting glass. I don't know how to describe it, but I saw colors, like light was moving in the colors inside a cut glass.
It has a crystalline effect to it. It's got a crystalline energy to it. When I was speaking it, also, I have some experiences, so I felt a real dimensional shift. I mean, I really felt like, oh, we just went to another dimension here for a while, right? And it's always magical when that happens, and I can feel it when it shifts. It's like, okay, now we're in this other dimension, and you were all there with me, so that was neat, yeah.
So we do have some questions from people online. Let's see. Pam Olson. Hi, Pam. She's in Oregon. Linda, is your guide part of the Originians? She says originals, but is your guide part of the Originians?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. That is the major thing that I'm tapped into right now, is myself on the other side. So I'm really primarily right now tapping into the me that is me when I'm not here. So it's like there's a veil. We all have this something on the other side. So I'm tapping into that primarily at this point. There is a whole sphere of information that's available to me. I have right now maybe this much of the sphere. So as I get more and more attuned, I will be able to receive more and more detailed information, so I'm being told. We'll see.
Who was the being that God was like really pressing? Who was that?
Who was that? That was still me. That was still me on the other side. That, in my view, was me on the other side. I don't always like it. Oh, here I am. I'm George of the planet Pleiades. I just get an energy frequency, and I think at this point, since I'm primarily tuned into me, that it's still me on the other side of the veil. So I'm tapping into me, and right now, because that's the frequency that I have. I have been told that I have the ability, because other beings can communicate with me because of who I am on the other side. I'm like an antenna, that I will have more and more things that almost any being will be able to communicate with me at some point if I keep practicing. I practice now every day. I sit and channel. I go into quiet and I channel maybe 20-25 minutes at a time. So I've been doing that, and that's longer. They used to be about 8 minutes. Now they're 25 minutes. So as I get more attuned, I can hold it longer, and they have more to say. And they change subjects now, and they start to weave things, and so it's getting more interesting when I do this.
Did I see a hand come up over here? Or did I psychically see that hand, I guess? So there's another question online. How did you know you were hiding? And more so, what finally prompted you to stop hiding?
Oh, how did I know? I was totally hiding. Ask I was saying one of my friends here, Barbara Adams, has been very with me on this journey because we talk a lot, and I have shared a lot of my fears and a lot of my concerns, and I didn't want anybody to know anything about alien, but I can't talk about it as my other friends now. I talk about aliens, and I start to see aliens in other people. And it just is. I start to recognize people, and I'll meet them, and I'll think, oh, you're not really from here, are you? And I think I'm very good at that, by the way. I think I'm really, really good at identifying those people who are from here and those people who are not from here. And it's delightful for me to see how many of you I think are not from here. You have come here to share your vibration, your energy, your love, and to help shift this planet. So there's many, many, many of us here working, and probably a lot of the people who are in this room are in that category. You're not going to be here otherwise. So thank you for who you are, for who you're going to be, for opening up, for becoming part of this grand adventure that we're on. So we're on a grand shift of humanity, and you're all here to assist. Those who are in this room, you are. You would not be here otherwise. You just would not be attracted. There would be nothing about this that would attract you. So we're glad you're here.
I love this question to you. Linda, have you considered making available recordings of light language messages to those who would benefit from its calming effects for meditation and similar purposes? That's
a wonderful question. I haven't, but I love that you asked that question, and that's a great idea. And, because I hardly have done it in front of people, I really don't know how it's affecting people. So I appreciate you saying that. That is what other people have said, that it's calms me. I don't know how other people felt, if they felt calm, or what you felt when I spoke, especially when I spoke specifically to each one of you. What you were feeling. But that's a wonderful idea. That would be great fun for me. I also really find myself sometimes singing, and that would be fun. It would be neat to sing this light language. And I have another friend who has a language, and when we sing together, wow, it is something else. And so maybe someday, if she visits, we can set something up and we'll sing for you. It's fabulous.
Let's see if there are any other questions.
Sandra, I have a question.
Yes, please.
I'm just curious about when God was trying to prompt her to speak, to answer the question about getting deeper into what may happen.
Right.
Was that, is that because she wasn't able to answer it because she can't go there yet, or?
Yeah, let's find out. So people online, I don't know if you heard the question, but Jan is curious to know, when God was pressing her, the question is why was God pressing her? I mean, or what?
Well, I don't know that it's why.
It's a different.
It's just that she wasn't able to.
She wasn't able to give the answer that God was obviously pressing for something.
Yeah.
And she wasn't able to deliver that message. So God says, well, the foundation of this work requires a very critical telepath. And Linda's not there yet. She's just not at a place where she can be critical with the communicators. And the reason we wanted to make this part of the public dialogue is that we know we have many online who are coming online and into their own communications. And sometimes their curiosity can lead them down the wrong corridor or communing with the wrong aliens. So we had to press Linda to take a critical view of the communicator. And she just wasn't willing yet. Just wasn't willing yet. But she's highly protected. She's highly protected. We called in the language of the light and the being that is her protector first. So a lot of the, if you can imagine her consciousness as a big sphere that goes way beyond even the corners of this room, and the beings that have settled near to enter that permeable layer, they were right there, and she was right there. What she received from them was only the best information for her comfort. For her comfort. And we wanted them to reveal. They're not ready to scare her yet.
That's good.
It sounded to me that God was, that it was something that we need to know.
In many of our talks, we warn that as your consciousness raises, as you become more cognizant of your mind speaking, not your brain thinking, your mind speaking, the more cognizant you become of your mind speaking, the more receptive you are to speakers. And those speakers are usually interlopers. It's as comforting to yourself as you can be to be purified enough to receive information from those who are for your highest good. That's your mastery. That's your path. That's your goal as a spiritual person, to always seek the highest good for you and the highest good to come to you. But when your consciousness is expanding, you're opening the door to many speakers.
And I think also that I, as a channel, a person who is receiving that, I'm not willing to go there.
Right.
I'm not. So they won't get a message through if I won't go there. And before I did this, I spoke with the person I took a light language course with, and her name is Jamie Price, and I was one of the first 5 to do it. We had a talk, and she said that sometimes when the council, she channels the Lyrian Council of Light, before they come through, if they've got a message to come through, they spend days ahead of time prepping her for what's to come through, because as a channel, I am not ready to bring through anything I'm not comfortable with personally. I'm just not ready. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. And so there's not going to be probably, and that's part of the, again, free will. I have free will as a channel. And you're not going to bring something through me yet, unless I believe that it is for your highest good to hear it. Until I am ready to share it in a manner that only benefits. That only benefits. Until I'm ready, if I hear it, they're going to have to prep me, and I'm going to have to agree that it's for your benefit to hear it. And when I'm there, you'll hear it. And you'll hear it in a way that benefits you. Victoria?
Did you have any physical symptoms as you were opening up to hearing, like ringing in the ears?
Oh, God, yeah.
The question was, what kind of physical symptoms?
What physical, did I have ringing in the ears? Yes, sometimes so bad, I have to go lay down, and it's like, puts me to sleep. It's like, bzzz, and it's like, oh. It's like, because it's a high vibration, I think, and when we're in high vibrational things, it fatigues one. It fatigues one, and I think if a really, really high vibrational being walks in here, we'll fall asleep because the vibration is so high and we're not used to it. So there's fatigue, and I'd have to lay down and sometimes immediately pass out, and I don't do that. I don't fall asleep easy. One of the things of trauma is that your brain is always on, and so for me to go, something else is going on. So yes, I had the ringing in the ears. You have that noise. There's a lot of pain up in the neck, that you're going to feel pressure in the head. There's pressure in the head, but there's also a pressure in the mouth.
Did the ringing in the ears stop when you then spoke?
It's still ringing. My ears are still ringing. They started ringing really bad about 2 hours before everybody showed up. It started to get real buzzy for me. It started to get real buzzy, and then it'll feel like I'm, and this is one of the problems I've had my whole life, is to be grounded. So to ground myself, and so I was trying to sit in the room beforehand to ground and to become present so that I could carry this message, because otherwise it carries me away. I get carried away with it. And I have, and sometimes it seems, and I think that we're all having experiences with time and space right now. And for me, I don't know how often I'm here and how often I'm not here, because time is so disappears on me that, and I think it's common, becoming more and more common, that time is becoming elusive. So I think it's interesting. I hope that at some point, that'll probably be something I'll want to explore, is how time is becoming so elusive, and what's happening when the time is missing. Are we having interdimensional experiences? Are we experiencing another life in another plane? What is it that's going on when we are in these states of consciousness? And I think there is. We're starting to, the veils are thinning. We're starting to communicate with beings. But we don't always remember that at this point. I think people will start to do more and more of that, and then also remember. And it's going to be, and see, what I see is, I see this is beautiful. Everything, see, so far for me, everything that's come through has been comforting. It's been comforting for me. That's my experience thus far for 2 months, 2.5 months of channeling.
So I'm being summoned. God wants to talk. God says the one thing about Linda that is unfortunate for her is that the Pollyanna view of what will come through her only keeps her hidden. There's no way to make what you have to say from these beings of benefit to everyone. That's not their purpose through you. And if you just wait for that, this little puny body of yours will pass away before your spirit gets a chance to do why it incarnated. This world is not fit for a sensitive. But sensitives are here because they're sensitive to the other realms, to communicate into this realm. But that means sensitives, because they're sensitive, want to be sensitive to everyone's sensitivities. But you can't do your job if that's the only way you see the way of you.
And perhaps as time goes, we'll see. And that's why, and sitting here, I had no idea what would happen today. So,
Neither did I. I didn't know why we were here. We were
Yes.
just summoned here for this.
Victoria,
So how does a sensitive toughen up?
That's a good question.
how does a sensitive toughen up was the question. That is a good question.
Well, first of all, he or she must demand honesty above all else. That honesty is the only way to toughen up. Because honesty is a place for the sensitive to reveal to the sensitive what he is. Honesty is a true reflection. The true reflection is the toughest surface in the world. It cannot be penetrated by anything. A true reflection stays true through reflection after reflection after reflection. An untrue reflection is broken easily, malleable, destructive, and destructs. So only in the honest perspective of oneself as a sensitive can one be of a strong constitution. That's the goal of a sensitive. To remain sensitive with a strong constitution. To be kind means being kind to the self and kind to others. And that means being sensitive and strong. Being kind in the face of someone's unkindness is strong. Being real in the face of someone's unrealness is strong. Being honest in the face of someone's dishonesty is strong. Being sweet and kind in the face of someone's evil intent is strong. If someone wants to destroy you with their words and you turn it on them with kindness, that's strength. You don't have to crumble being overly sensitive to someone's ill will. You don't have to be crumbling every time someone says something you don't like. And you don't have to assume others will crumble when you say something they don't like. Assume that what you are telling them, provided it is honest and true, it will help and be of benefit, even if they hate you for it. If it is true, it is honest, and it is a reflection of what's true. It is strong. It is your job. It is in the honor of your job as a sensitive that you become strong. Without that honor, you are not sensitive. You are guarded. You deny. You refuse. Because honesty with yourself is impossible. That's being too sensitive for how you feel, rather than sensitive to who you are, that is real. All right.
Can we complete?
We are complete. Oh, wait, let me just make sure it goes. We have nothing more to say tonight, but we do have a great deal to teach tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first day of a deep programming. We are going to be programming the meditators to reach within and see the void. The void that encompasses all that is. And in this meditation process, Gary Springfield if he's feeling better, which we cannot guarantee. But we will do our best to, in a collective, help him feel better. We will tap in, each of you that is listening in, even online. We will tap in to your darkest state. Not dark as in the things that scare you, but dark as in unfilled. Unfilled. Dark, unfilled is where your origin is. You have been filling up that darkness for eons with story after story after story after story, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But the origin of you, the true you, is dreaming all of those lifetimes from the void. And that is where we will attempt to take you tomorrow in meditation. So we look forward to you arriving in total silence. When you wake up in the morning, don't say a word to anyone.
If you're coming.
Any questions about tomorrow? Then we will see you then. Enjoy refreshment.
Get lots of goodies.
Get lots of rest too.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel a little weak at the knees.
Tom is Audrey. I think he's the next for sharing.